Is diverting hate a result of female correct emotionalism? No, it is a hustle, is what it is. And Will, thank you for helping me out with a lot of this stuff. Will's been sort of keeping tabs on diverting hate. Diverting hate is an NGO, and I think maybe now's the time to fucking play this because I won't play the whole thing because it's a little bit long, but I was overjoyed to see, where is it? There it is. NGOs. I was overjoyed to see that one of the first things that Trump has acknowledged is defunding these NGOs.
Free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business.
There you go.
From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support.
Can we start with Arizona State University, Mr. President?
For a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year calling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights.
Yes.
This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
There we go. Bye-bye, NGOs. Fuck you, digital. Diverting hate. Yes, here you go. That's the reason I brought up ASU is because ASU is where the McCain Institute is headquartered right now. McCain Institute is one who basically takes DHS dollars through ASU, funnels it through the McCain Institute, and then gives it to NGOs such as Diverting Hate. I've gone over that. I think I did like probably 2 different videos breaking down the end run, like he was talking about end run around the legalities, right? The reason why we don't even trace it back to the DHS or as taxpayer dollars is because that's the reason they do this is so that they can avoid being held accountable for it. Because if in some way it's not the money is basically given to the university, that's a donation to the university. The university then takes that, funnels it through the McCain Institute, and then puts it through these NGOs. And the reason why I know this is because I was watching a Congressman Elijah Crane, and he's a guy who is out of Arizona. I don't know. I hope he got reelected. I'm not sure if he did or not. But he was making the distinction about an NGO. Now, this wasn't about the Manosphere in particular, but it was other NGOs that were doing the same thing that Diverting Hate has been doing to the Manosphere and Red Pill guys, myself, Aaron Clary, Rich Cooper, Stardust, Mediocre Tutorial Reviews. We're all on that same list. We're all on that same thing. I have, courtesy of Will, the guy who just super chatted in a minute. I've got their charter. I have literally the PDF of their charter. This is what they're doing. They are specifically infringing on my First Amendment right, on my right to free speech, and not just mine, like everybody that's on that list. Aaron Clary on that list. How dare they? Stardust is on that list. I'm trying to think. Fresh and Fit were on there, but they didn't follow up on Fresh and Fit. You know why? Because they got demonetized during the time period. Like YouTube demonetized Fresh and Fit while they were still under sort of surveillance from the Diverting Hate NGO, right? I hope they fucking, if somebody is doing like a class action suit against Diverting Hate, call me up. I will be the first one to help you out as much as I possibly can. But they're an NGO who are essentially doing an end around the Constitution so that they can suppress my right to free speech, to Rich Cooper's, Aaron Clary's. and essentially using that money to establish software that will redirect my traffic. If you wonder why my subscriptions have been flatlined for the last year, this is why. If you want to know why if you're watching this video and it is, you're watching it, the recording of it, this is live right now, but when you're watching the recording of it, and you see the ads that YouTube inserts into, like they take the inserts and decide what ads get placed where. If you're looking at my ads and you're wondering why Justin Baldini from Man Enough is overrepresented, let's just say, in my advertisers list, it's because they do ad buys because they want to redirect my traffic to guys like Justin Baldini, who they think is a good form of masculinity, literally a state approved form of masculinity. And if Justin Baldini would like to come on this show and sit across from me where I can challenge him and say, why the fuck would you accept that? Mm-hmm. Why would you? Because he would have to be party to this to have them do ad buys for his site, right? And he would, with his approval. Why are you approving of this? You are essentially complicit and an accomplice to the end run that these NGOs have been doing around my right to free speech. And they can say, well, YouTube can do whatever they want to, blah, blah, blah. It's their private platform. Yes, they can, but within certain reason, right? And so that's exactly what Trump is talking about here. And I was floored when I saw that video. I was like, oh my God, they know about it. They know about all of this already. And they know what's going on. That's why his first thing is going to be, we're going to basically cut the teeth out of this shit right now, which I have. Bravo. Thank you. You want to know, ladies, you want to know why I voted for Trump? This is why I voted for Trump. Because he's the guy that's going to do this. Kamala Harris is not going to do this. No leftist bullshit, slinger is going to be able to do this. In fact, they're the ones that want this more than anything. And you know why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid of what will happen. They're afraid of men manning up. They're afraid of men getting together and organizing. They're afraid of men having these conversations. They don't want this to happen. And they were deathly so afraid of this that you have PACs, like political action committees, such as Progressive Victory, who started buying influencers like Destiny, like Jasmine Jafar, like Farah, like Pixie, like I think Vaush is on that list. There's a whole documentary, by the way, on Progressive Victory, which was started by an individual named Sam Drismala. I'm aware of this guy. I know what's going on with them. They formed this political action committee to essentially buy the influence, buy the voices of these, well, they formerly Twitch kids. In fact, they would even call them, they couldn't actually call them political analysts. There couldn't be any affiliation with them being a sort of being political activists. So they called them analysts, and they were never allowed to say that they were associated or they were affiliated with Progressive Victory, or if they were analysts and they were like contract labor is what they were. And they were specifically told to do this. They signed non-disclosure acts for this. Even Jasmine Jafar admitted to this. Farah admitted to this. I presume probably in the future they're going to say something about it later on. But the fact of the matter is that these guys sold their voices and sold their fucking souls to a political action committee that was deathly afraid that men might organize and do exactly what happened on November 5th, which is get together and fucking vote for a candidate that they didn't want. And you know what? You all fucking failed. Every last one of you failed. All the money you put into this. And I was going to say, it's interesting. I'm going to say, I'll just say it. I am taking great pleasure in watching Destiny fucking flame out, because this guy has been a sock puppet for a political action committee for at least July of 2022 when they started buying these people. They essentially bought their voices. And I will also say, look, we can also make comparisons to how Russian money, $10 million of Russian money, went into Tenet Media to buy the voices of Tim Pool, allegedly, and Lauren Chen, Lauren Southern, anybody who's been affiliated with Tenet Media. The money that they used to launch Tenet Media was from Russian influencers, from Russian money. And $10 million is like not that much money to a government like Russia. So does it happen on both sides? Yeah, it probably does. What influence they hope to get from that, Like Tim Pool has been talking about how he's paid $100,000 per episode if he would carry the water for like the Ukraine, whatever the messages that they wanted him to say. I don't think it's a coincidence that Tim has decided that he's going to sort of quote unquote quit the business. We'll see if that actually sticks, but I don't think it's a coincidence. I know that they are under federal indictment, and it'll be interesting to see in a Trump administration or Trump regime where that federal indictment goes. So, but I will tell you this: I don't care if you're part of Progressive Victory or you took money from the Russians or whatever it is. I don't care. You know what I care about? The fact that you're willing to sell your influence and sell your voice to the highest fucking bidder. And anything that you have put out between now and then, between let's say 2022, like July of 2022 and today, should have an asterisk by it. It should be like, you don't know if this is actually the words coming out of this guy's mouth is actually what he thinks, or if it's what he's been paid to say. And so as such, you should just fucking go away. Destiny, just fade away into fucking nothingness. Fade away. I saw you on, what was he? He was on Jubilee, and fucking and Andrew Wilson just fucking cut him a new asshole, dude. It was glorious. At this point, I think he's just masochistic. I think he just enjoys getting spanked, because that whole format and everything there. I mean, the guy's clearly on Vyvanse and the whole, like, he's a tweaker, man. I mean, trust me, I lived in the North Valleys of Reno not long enough to know what a tweaker looks like, right? I mean, these guys, I'm surprised he's not on methamphetamine, quite honestly, by this point. But the worst thing that could possibly happen to Destiny and guys like him is that they fade into nothing. They fade into obscurity and irrelevancy. And I'm here for it, man. I am here to watch you fucking fall. So with that said, I would just want to point out that the reason why all of this happened, the reason why I'm even still to this day, probably still with shadow ban. I probably will be until this starts to go down with Trump and everything else. But I'm glad. It was very encouraging to realize that they know about this stuff already. And that the reason why they're doing this, the reason why it was so imperative, and the reason why they wanted to do this so badly is because they were afraid that people like me, people like Myron Gaines, people like Rich Cooper, people like Aaron Caleri were in some way convincing or radicalizing young men to vote for Trump. And here we are. You failed. All that money, all that fucking time, all that concern, trying to take me down, trying to fucking manufacture dirt on Rollo Tomassi, trying to tear me down, trying to put me in jail in some cases, colluding with your friends like Brittany fucking Venti, Lawrence. And by the way, if you're looking at Destiny and you look at the connections between him and Lawrence Southern should not be friends with Destiny. Why would that be? Well, because they're on the same fucking team. And have been for quite some time. There are connections. If you look at connections between Jasmine Jafar, Farrah, Pixie, Not So Erudite, you look at Lawrence Southern, you look at Destiny, you look at all these guys, they're all connected. I feel like when they have to like take like the thread, and you have to like, okay, you have like the Polaroid and you're doing these little threads on the cork board kind of thing, because you're a private investigator. I feel like I'm doing that. They're all connected. And by the way, connected as well to people like Will Costello and Chris Williamson and Alex from Date Psych. All of these guys are fucking connected. Don't believe me? Who did the documentary with Lauren Southern on Tenet Media about I don't know, masculine? I forget what the name of it was, but she did some documentary back in like June or May of last year. Alex from Date Psych. What are you doing? How do you know Lawrence Southern? How do you know? I'll tell you how you know, because you've fucking been in this whole fucking cabal since day one. Same thing with fucking Will Costello, man. Will Costello was the guy who did the fucking half-assed research project on incels. Why? So that incels could be added to the domestic terrorist watch list of the DHS and the FBI. And whether that was intentional or not, you still got government funds from it. That is uncontested. We already know this. So when you've got Will Costello trying to get Not So Erudite to run cover for him, and by the way, I have the emails between you and Erudite. I know what went down. I know you went and appealed to her. Why? Of all the people why not just fucking front it yourself? Why not say, well, Rollo's wrong about this. Let's do this. Instead of Instead of doing that yourself, why would you go to Not So Erudite? Well, because Not So Erudite is on the payroll of Progressive Victory, along with Destiny and the rest of these kids, right? So when I look and I see this, and I'm looking at when I first noticed this, I'm looking at sort of like the shoddy research methodology that went into this, and the fact that he's doing it under the name of Dr. David Buss at the same time. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the resources and everything else, and lo and behold, whether he'll say, "Well, it wasn't intentional. We're trying to turn incels into nice guys." Well, you failed, because the initial impetus for it was, at least as far as the DHS was concerned and the FBI were concerned, was an ability, or at least some sort of concrete data set that they could use in order to categorize quote unquote incels as domestic terrorists or potential domestic terrorists. And if that's the case, then who's radicalizing these domestic terrorists? Rollo Tomasi and fucking Rich Cooper and Aaron Clary. Sorry, Aaron, you're like a radical imam. You're radicalizing these boys. They're going to strap on bombs, and we're going to go run into, I don't know, Curves workout and blow ourselves up. Right? That was the concern. But that wasn't the concern. What was the concern was what happened on November 5th. Guys went out and they fucking voted. That's what they wanted. They didn't want that to happen. They didn't want guys to get together, talk, or organize whatsoever. That's why you got Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes was all about Trump until he wasn't about Trump, and now suddenly he's not. He's all about Trump again. Again, another guy who will fade into obscurity, fading away right now. And I'm here for it. Bye-bye. You know what? I outlasted all of you. I've outlasted so many of these fuckers, man. Like guys like this, I have outlasted every one of you. And I will continue to outlast every single one of you. But and so why is Will Costello trying to get Not So Erudite to run cover for him when I'm bringing all this shit to light? And not just me, it's also my friend Bex. We're doing the investigations on this stuff. Why? And Abba and Preach, fuck you. You're on notice too. It is a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually all this shit went down, and here we are. Oh, these guys are overreacting. Not really. Here it is, black and white. I'm showing you I will show you the commission. I will show you the biannual report. I will show you I have the fucking receipts. Where you at now? Nowhere. And how do we know this? Well, I've got another. I'm glad you asked. I have another video for you here. This I thought was very, very telling, because this man, by the way, this came out a day after the election. So just bear with me.
Particularly the media ecosystem it's not a good one. It's a negative one. It's a radicalization funnel. But what they have done in their
notice the language, a radicalization funnel.
Online media ecosystem is build a radicalization engine, literally the way militant groups do around the world, that takes people from relatively low-level annoyances with the world. Why are eggs so expensive? Why is my kid learning this new thing in American history in school that I didn't learn? And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. It's an elaborate multi-billion-dollar infrastructure.
Congratulations. To be in the manosphere and to be a man and masculine is to be a fascist.
And there is nothing like it on the pro-democracy side. We don't have when a man is just lost and lonely and not yet radicalized, we don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
But I think
okay, first of all, that guy's a pussy. So next, I forget the guy's name. I have it on my Twitter. I'll go fetch it here in just a second. Anyways, guy on what is that? Good Morning America? Morning Joe? Oh, Morning Joe. That's what it was. Morning Joe. This guy is basically saying the silent parts out loud, people. He wasn't supposed to say like, oh, we don't have anything like this on the pro-democracy side. I'm pretty pro-democracy myself, and I don't agree with a fucking thing you say. No, they absolutely do have something like that on the quote unquote pro-democracy side. It was called Progressive Victory. It was called Diverting Hate NGO. It was called the McCain Institute. It was called Arizona State fucking University. You definitely have something going like this on the other side. You just don't want anybody to know about it. And he's using language that was implicit in the biannual reports of Diverting Hate. That's a radicalization engine. They're radicalized. These young men are being radical. Notice that he goes from like the price of eggs and why is my kid learning this in history class to radicalizing young men. Where did we make that transition? Well, because that's all he has in the back of his head, because he knows that the guys who went out there and voted for Trump were exactly the same voters that they wanted to repress, they wanted to suppress. And how do you do that? You turn them into terrorists. Will Costello, you turn them into terrorists, Alex from Datesite. You turn them into terrorists, Chris fucking Williams. You turn them into terrorists, not so erudite. That's how you start referring to them, because if you don't refer to them like that, then no one takes you seriously. And he still has this as a vestige of the talking points that they were supposed to get embedded in their heads during this entire election campaign cycle. That's why. And here it is, black and fucking white. This guy's upset at the result because they put in so much time, so much effort, so much fucking money to make this happen. And by the way, to the tune of like close to $700,000 of DHS taxpayer money goes into the Diverting Hate NGO in order to suppress my voice, in order to suppress anything in the manosphere, because they were scared shitless. So what happens? You get some half-assed fucking research project by these guys who, by the way, got Will Costello his fucking doctorate. And now I realize this. They come out with some new fucking new research with him and the rest of his buddies, trying to like backpedal and backstep out of this because they know I'm coming for them. They know everybody else is going to be coming for them as well. They want people to think that incels and anybody who would be listening to me, anybody who would listen to Myron Gaines, anybody who would listen to Mike, anybody who would listen to anything that is a quote unquote manosphere. Thank you, Dana Bash, for bringing that up in the mainstream. Now they know they fucking had no other choice. They had nothing left to lose. They knew about this stuff. Dana Bash, if she knows the term manosphere, you're goddamn right. The rest of these guys know what it's about. And they didn't want men to organize. They didn't want men to get together and have discussions about this stuff. And I'll tell you, the funniest thing is, like, I am not a conservative. I am not a liberal. I'm a fucking pragmatist, man. I'm here to fucking give you the truth. I care about objective truth. I try to stick to Gad Saad's, mission statement. I have an obligation to objective truth. I lock horns with tradcons at least as much, if not more, than liberals, because I want them to fucking understand this shit. If you guys want to change the world and do have a better old school world for yourself, at least fucking do it from a position of like genuine honesty. But nobody cares about that shit. And here we are, man. Here we are in fucking 2024. It's November 10th. And they're using this language as if they'd known about it all along. Radicalization engine. Oh, we don't have anybody like Jordan Peterson or Joe Rogan, like as if they're the fucking like flag wavers of the fucking manosphere. Get the fuck out of here. Joe Rogan wouldn't fucking give me the time of day. Joe Rogan will talk to fucking Hotep Jesus before he will talk to Rollo Tavasis, and has done so twice. So until I get that call, Joe, I'm waiting for you. Joe Rogan will talk to Jim Sexton before he will talk to me. Fucking what you call it? Chris Williamson will talk to anyone on planet Earth before he will talk to me, because they're scared. You guys are fucking scared. You're cowards. You're fucking scared shitless. I never hear from these guys. You want to call me on? You could use this clip on your fucking show. You're fucking pussies. You're fucking cowards, and you're fucking scared, and have been scared for at least the last 18 months. Because I will tell you the truth. I will tell you what's up. I will tell you why we do this stuff. I'll tell you why we have these conversations. You want to know why Myron and Fresh have such a popular platform, or have had such a popular platform? I'll be happy to tell you why. Don't want to have that conversation. They would rather have the watered down fucking pansy ass Walmart version of it.